Okay, let's look at something Jesus said in Matthew chapter 6, verse 5. He said that, and when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by men. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. Now, some have interpreted this to mean that silent prayer is more powerful than loud prayers. Between silent prayers and loud prayers, which is more powerful and which is even scriptural?
I think both are. And both are powerful, effective. Once you are talking to the God who is all powerful. So I think Jesus prayed loud prayers. You see Jesus in Hebrews 5:7 says Jesus offered loud cries unto God and he was heard. So at that point Jesus was actually crying. When Jesus was on the cross, Matthew 27:46, he said, Eli, Eli, malach sabachthani, my God. He was talking to God and he was screaming. And in Luke he says, into your hands I commit my spirit. And it was recorded. It means they heard. In John 17 you find Jesus pray a long prayer and the whole prayer is recorded. It means they heard. When they were in the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus says, if it is possible, take this cup away from me. They heard. That's why they put it down. So there are very fine times that Jesus prayed loud prayers. In Acts, the apostles, Acts chapter 4, they prayed loudly. And Stephen, when he was dying, prayed loudly. So there are very fine times where the Bible calls or hears. And in the Old Testament, we don't even want to go to the Psalms. Like, we don't even want to get there. Like, loud prayers are good. And there are also times where you find that the Bible suggests that people prayed quietly and God heard them. And so, in that sense, I think it's the quiet prayer is good. The loud prayer is good. As I back to the old point, depends on what is going to help you in that moment. If you find yourself on a cross dying, I don't think the best way to pray is, Father, no.
Because you're already in pain, so definitely you're going to shout.
Scream, yes. And in the Garden of Gethsemane, so the emotional accompaniment is actually now playing out in those areas of prayer. When the disciples were persecuted, they were like, oh God, you who made the heavens and the earth, why did the Gentiles rage? Give us strength. Let us go out so that we preach the gospel. Accompany your word with signs. There's this force in the prayer because that's the emotional fervor. Acts 2, when the Holy Spirit came down, you don't expect those guys to be quiet. They will scream.
But some say that when you pray loud prayers, it's like you're shouting at God.
No, they have to give us a verse. There is no verse in the Bible that would suggest that. And in fact, when you look at the prayers in the Old Testament, sometimes I'm like, how can David talk to God like that? He's like, God, haven't you heard me? Why have you taken so long to respond? I'm like, David, slow down, So God does not have an issue with that. Jeremiah actually prayed a prayer to God and said, Lord, you have deceived me and I've been deceived. I'm like, Jeremiah, are you talking to God? But God heard him. So the loud and the quiet is not the problem. It's not if that's where you are, let it out. Let it out. Don't let anything suppress you and say you have to talk small, otherwise God will be angry. God will not be angry at all.